One which we know very well because we've been calling every Box Hill game now for 11 years. This is our 11th season. And he's a young gun with the Box Hill Hawks, Brayden Kilpatrick, but he did that little toe poke that got it off to Hanrahan and got Box Hill, that draw just when Box Hill needed it. It was so exciting. Bad for our tickers, but what an exciting game of footy to be at. And he joins us now for a chat. Brayden Kilpatrick, welcome to VFL Rewind.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, Box Hill and Port drew last year which was a very exciting game as well, and then this year to draw, and it was, at one stage you were 30 points up, and Port came back, and then you got in front. I mean, I think with 5 minutes to go, you were a couple of goals in front. Port kick a couple there in front. It had a bit of everything. Yeah,
it definitely did. It was an amazing game to be a part of. I suppose Port Melbourne, hard teams play against the best of times, let alone playing at their home ground in an elimination final. And that obviously we just knew they were going to keep coming. We're up by 5 goals at half time. They had a really good third quarter, and then obviously we kind of broke away again. I think we were 18 points up with about 5 minutes to go, and they kicked 4 on the run. So we found ourselves a goal down with not long to go, and obviously the last 25 seconds told itself.
And that's on your highlight reel forever now.
Yeah, it certainly is. I had a lot of people coming up to me in the rooms after the game saying, it's probably a moment you're not going to forget, and it's very true. The ball just kind of broke, and Ollie into the open goal, I guess.
G'day, Brayden. It's Laoshi speaking. Congratulations on a fantastic season personally and team-wise. And there's no chance you'll be playing for South Croydon this week after more or less being a part of folklore, Box Hill folklore now with that toe poke. What are you guys doing this week to prepare for Geelong? I know it's not a lot of extra time to be played, but 10 minutes, that 10 minutes would have been gruelling on the body after such a gruelling 2 hours already on Saturday.
Yeah, it certainly was. A game like that and the wet conditions, very contested. So there was a couple of sore boys. So today we've got sort of like a recovery running program that we do. Takes about 15 minutes, and then just a bit of stretching as well. Obviously, the 8-day break will help us out a little bit with that as well, going from Saturday to a Sunday game against Geelong this week. But also, trying to get some water recovery, and whether that be at the pool or even the beach, is also pretty handy in coming up for these games.
Hey, Brayden, it's Brad Mullen here. Well done on the win on Saturday. It was a great game and the best toe poke I've seen since the 2009 Granny. So well done for that. It'll go down as in VFL history. One question I've got is, once the game was over, did the players know what was going to happen? Because I looked out on the ground, I was there, and a lot of the players weren't sure, what was going to happen. So were you made aware very quickly what was going to happen by the coaches or staff?
Yeah, so it was a funny one because obviously everything happened, and because there was such a massive crowd, I guess, Hawthorn not having a game this week as well, so we had a lot of Hawthorn fans and Port Melbourne as well. So we didn't actually hear the siren at all. So I had no idea the siren went. Ollie had no idea the siren went till like 10, 15 seconds after it went. And then we all kind of gathered around the 50-metre line and looked around. The umpires weren't 100% sure what was going on. We were all asking. Someone even suggested it might have been the first goal. So if that was the case, we would have been out. So we were a bit concerned about that. And then maybe 30 seconds in, it was confirmed that it was going to be some extra time. So we tried to regather ourselves a little bit and prepare for the extra 10 minutes.
And with that, I guess Geordie Lyle had a shot, missed it. You guys went end to end, and pretty much from there, we're in control. It must have been an odd feeling, though, to go into a break for extra time and then change positions for only that 5 minutes, because each half only went for about, I think, 7-8 minutes because they had time on as well. So it wasn't a lot of time to really adapt to what was going on, I guess, was it?
Yeah, exactly right. I think there was only one behind in the second half of the extra time. So it certainly was interesting, and you couldn't make substitutions between those breaks. There was obviously no coaching in between the break and the extra time either. So yeah, it was certainly something that I've never experienced before. But it was a thrill once the final siren went for the second time.
Tell us about your background, Brayden. You've been at Box Hill now for 2 or 3 years. You spent a little bit of time with the Sydney Swans Academy, being a St George boy up there in the Sydney Australian Football League. How do you compare the Swans program to what Hawthorn's got on offer with? I know you probably don't train too much with the Hawthorn boys, but you're probably exposed to it every now and then.
Yeah, exactly right. So obviously the academy is primarily, I suppose, school-age kids up to your draft year. So yeah, I progressed through that. I was probably 12 or 13, all the way through to 18. So I spent time playing the academy games, played some games with the Swans Reserves as well, and some Nationals games with the Rams in the TAC Cup as well. And then obviously came down to Melbourne, so this is my 3rd year at Box Hill. But yeah, how it compares, I suppose, with the academy, we train with the academy. We don't train with our local clubs as often. It's almost like a team in itself. And then I suppose with Box Hill, we're kind of separated again from the Hawthorn guys, but it's great to have the exposure, I suppose, at both of those levels to the elite facilities of the Swans and the Hawks. You know, they're not local club facilities, they're state of the art, so it's very helpful, you know, with your gyms and your pools and all that sort of stuff.
Now tell me, how does a 3-year-old Sydney boy start playing football for the Ramsgate Rams, was it, up there?
That's correct, yeah.
Yep. And what was the link to footy? I know your old man Andrew played over 100 games at St George up there for the not to be confused with the rugby league side, but is there a Victorian background there, or is it just a game that your old man fell in love with?
Oh, he'll love that plug, so thanks for that.
That's all right.
Yeah, so both my parents are originally from Melbourne, so there's a bit of a link there. They actually met at an AFL Grand Final, so it's a bit of bloodlines there, I suppose. But yeah, I started playing when I was about 2 or 3 because I think Dad was just helping out down at the club, and I can tell you that I didn't really do much. I was pretty much just sitting on the ground building sandcastles by reports, and yeah, the only time I got the ball was when the Oz kick umpire gave it to me. So it's changed a little bit since then, but it's always good times down at Ramsgate.
I'll give Andrew Kilpatrick one more plug. 25 years ago, he played in the 1993 St George Premiership up there.
He did, last standing. He lets me know about it all the time too.
Just before we handed you back to hoops, it must be great on that Boxer list having guys like Andrew Moore and Will Hams and Brolick and guys like that who are quality players. They must be great mentors to a player like you.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, and that's the good thing about Box Hill. We do have a mix. You know, you have those guys who have had exposure at AFL level, like Will and like Andrew. But then you've also got the guys who haven't had an opportunity at that level, but are really pressing for it. And it's a really good vibe down at the club. You know, everyone's really everyone really buys into, you know, the culture of the club, the team mentality, and it's just a really good place to be at the moment.
Well, the place where you will be is Sunday afternoon at North Port Oval at Kennett Stannard's Stadium, I should say. Big game against Geelong. Now, you beat Geelong a couple of weeks ago, and was it quite a convincing win? Geelong, though, they'll always bounce back and they'll come back hard, but you must be looking forward to it, going in thinking, well, we've beaten Casey, we've beaten Geelong, we've beaten Port. You must go in with some good confidence.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we knew after our Werribee game, we had a chat and, you know, about where we were and where we wanted to be, and we knew obviously we had those 2 tough games leading into the final, so we knew that we kind of had the pressure test coming before we got there. I think we still locked in a finals berth at that point, so we knew we'd be there. But obviously we could tell where we sat before we got there, and obviously knocking both those teams off, being second and third, gave us some really good confidence going into the weekend and going into this game as well, having only beaten Geelong 2 weeks ago. So we know that they'll bounce back, and after losing to Casey on the weekend, they're going to come out really hard. So we're looking forward to that new challenge on a new oval on Sunday, and yeah. going to be exciting.
Well, Brayden, we thank you so much for joining us tonight on VFL Rewind. I think you can be really proud of your efforts this year, and we look forward to watching your star rise over the next few years. And once again, thanks for being a part of VFL Rewind tonight.
Not a problem at all. Thank you very much.
All the best, Brayden.
Well, there he is. And Brayden Kilpatrick, he's just such a great competitor. And he's one of those young guns that is, once he's sort of earned his spot, he's been able to keep it most of the time. But it's difficult when Hawthorn are dropping players back down for players like Brayden. But, geez, he's a good player.
He's a fantastic player. I actually really felt sorry for him after round 3 when they played Coburg. He got 26 possessions. Box Hill had the bye in round 4 and he was playing for South Croydon reserves, came back in, got 26 possessions against Sandringham, and then was dropped for the next 6 or 7 weeks because of team balance and Hawthorn players available, and then came back in against Footscray and dominated.